Hi, it's Leslie Muller with another episode of New Earth Teachings. Today we're going to talk about something really important, which is controlling your thoughts. Okay, so that's lesson 2. What I want to say first of all about that is you are more powerful than you know. Think about that. Okay, so thoughts are power. Thoughts can create your reality. And this is what I wanted to teach you about today. So all of us have the ability to make choices. We've all been given something called free agency when we're born here on the earth. So many benevolent beings are guiding and influencing the earth's evolution right now. There is something called the Earth Alliance, which I'm part of. Also, David Wilcock is a big Earth Alliance teacher. Also, there are many more that may not necessarily advertise it, but there are a lot of high, like top 1% military clearance leaders who are guiding the Earth Alliance. Also, President Trump, he's volunteered to be run for president and be the U.S. American president right now as part of the leadership against the deep state. So if you don't watch David Wilcock's podcasts, you really need to do that. But anyway, I'll just explain it to you briefly. There's a whole group of beings who are trying to control the earth right now. So the deep state includes the negative and astral plane entities such as what a lot of people call the devil, Lucifer, demons. Also, that's not all. There are others that some people call the archons. They're in different texts. That happens to come out of Gnostic teachings, but I, for one, am just open to all kinds of information, and I decide what I believe in. So there are some dark Illuminati leaders and the old Anunnaki, fallen angels who came to Earth and who basically presented themselves as gods and altered the DNA of humans. Those were in the Sumerian texts and a lot of ancient texts that you can look up if you want to on your own time. But anyway, those are all part of the deep state. So the big difference between the two groups is that those of us in the Earth Alliance are oriented towards service to others. Those of us in the deep state are just service to self. It's all about the money. It's all about the money, okay? In the coming months and possibly years, you're going to find that there are more and more celebrities that you thought were in the good side, but they're not, that have been, interacting and practicing satanic rituals behind your backs. It's all hush hush, and it's all like dirty stuff, and it's all about making money again. So it's not that money is the root of all evil, which we don't want to get into that mindset where we think that if you have money you're evil, because that's not necessarily true, but it is the door to all evil if you don't have any boundaries with it. Okay, so for example, if you are a person motivated by money and you have no limits. So money and power at all costs. You might be oriented to self. You might be one of those in the deep state. So think about that. And if you are motivated by hate or revenge, that's also setting you up for the ability to be bribed, the ability to have negative agendas, and basically boils down to money and power again. So what is the alternative, people? Love and affiliations at all costs, loving others, putting that first. That is the alternative, and that's what the Alliance is all about. So the Earth Alliance is not only composed of us humans here on Earth, but also there are a lot of ETs that watch over us. A lot of people would call them angels, but they may not necessarily be from planets that are very commonly known. More and more disclosures coming out about those things, but I just wanted to at least introduce you to the fact that there are such things as good and evil. Now, what we have to do as a group of beings that are trying to evolve and ascend to the higher dimensions is what we have to do is try not to be judgmental. You might find me to be a very non-judgmental person. I get along with almost everyone, but when somebody crosses my line, watch out. That just means that you might think everything's great, and then if you start walking all over me one day, you're gonna find out, oops, that didn't work, that's backfiring on me, you know. So I stand up for myself now. I used to be quite the doormat, but not like that anymore. I've learned to love myself. I've learned to stand up for myself. I've learned to draw lines, and I've learned to give people a lot of warnings before I pull out of their lives. But if people just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, then I will pull out, and you're gonna miss me. I'll just warn you right now. I'm hoping that I can be friends with everybody here. I really am. And I hope that I can help anybody and everybody who wants to ascend, because my goal is to communicate the messages of the higher beings and to help everybody ascend and to make the choice to be part of the new earth. So the new earth is exciting, okay? So, excuse me, when I say new earth, what I mean is that there are more and more divisions between these two groups of people right now. So you might have just a very small window yet to decide. Do you want to keep serving only yourself and your family and the people that for sure do good things to you? Or do you want to learn to include everyone? Do you want to become more universal and more of a kind and loving person that is not basing any of their judgments on race, status, even opinion? I think everybody's entitled to their opinion. Religion. It's just let everyone have their freedom. That's my thing. Let everyone have their freedom up to a point. When they start being abusive in any way towards others or themselves even, they need to get help. So if we could have a world where everybody got help when they started to be really angry, upset, depressed, anything like that, then the world will be a much better place. So let me give you a little story. I was just thinking this would be a good one. As an example, okay, on ways that you can look at mindsets and thinking and manifesting your reality. Okay, so last time, let me just set this up. We talked about the definitions of anxiety and fear, and I just want to go into that again. Fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone else or something is dangerous or likely to cause pain or a threat. So living in fear is one way that we tend to be more negative. If you want to attract positive things toward yourselves, then you have to think more positively. You have to start choosing to look for the positives. So I'm not one to downplay the pain of this world. I know that, unfortunately, there are opposites in all things, and sometimes the pain is a real thing to us. But anxiety, like we talked about in the last lesson, can be controlled if you have dealt with the need to get on medication, see a therapist, things like that. But other than that, day-to-day anxiety can be controlled. We can choose what type of attitude we want to have when we wake up in the morning, and we can choose for it to be motivated towards loving ourselves and others and serving others. Anyway, let's go into this story of the two mountain campers, because that, I think, is going to be enjoyable for you to listen to, and it's going to illustrate what I'm talking about. So there are two campers. One's named Fink and one's named Stu. They went on a camping trip one weekend in a scenic, beautiful Rocky Mountain campground. Fink always looked on the bright side of things, so he was always happy no matter what. And Stu had a harder time seeing the good in the world, but they were both good friends because opposites attract, and both wanted to have fun, and they had a great sense of humor with each other. So their opposites kind of played on each other, and that can be really entertaining sometimes, right? So as they neared the campsite, the sunset made its appearance, and the stars were just popping out here and there into visibility. So, "Hey," Fink says, nudging his friend who dozed off in the passenger seat, "look there. We have arrived just in time to see the beautiful pinks and purples behind us in the sunset." And Stu says, "Oh crap, I better put on my glasses and try to see well enough for us to make a fire. It's getting dark. How long was I out anyway?" "You've been snoring pretty good since we passed Provo," Fink answered. "I just turned up the radio, though. It didn't bother me none." "What are we having for dinner tonight, Fink?" Stu asked. "Well, I thought we could catch some fish, maybe a rattlesnake," Fink chuckled. "Ha ha ha ha." "What?" Stu snarled. "I can't stand living off the land like that. This had better be fun." "So I'm just kidding," he says. "We're having sausages that I bought, rolls, a pineapple, potato salad. Anyway, you can have fun working just the same as you can when you're relaxing. It all depends on your point of view," Fink commented. So as the night went on, Fink enjoyed a lot of things, like the sound of the crackling fire, the fresh scent of the pine trees, the beautiful blue soft moon up in the sky and the stars, the peaceful sounds of nature like the crickets and the frogs singing. But On the other hand, Stu did not enjoy his evening. Okay, so Stu noticed things like the bugs that seemed to bite him despite the bug spray, the possible danger of bears and small animals as things rustled in the bushes nearby, and the fog that hovered above the trees, the annoying night sounds that Fink thought were fun, like the crickets and the frogs singing. He didn't like those. So in the morning, Fink was ready to go hiking and canoeing, and Stu just wanted to go home. So, Stu missed the comforts of technology, convenience, the climate control, the remote control, things like that. And perhaps he missed the point of immersing oneself in nature temporarily versus his everyday indoor life, I mean. No one can decide for you how you will choose to react in a set of circumstances like this. So, different people are going to appreciate different things. For example, if they brought women along with them, they might have enjoyed a chance to sit by the fire, sip some cocoa, laugh, and have some adult conversation, right? What if the children had come along? Think about that, how that might have changed things. I was thinking the adults would most likely have tried to make it a little bit more fun and entertaining for the kids, right? The whole goal of the group would have been different because then it would have been to make a happy family memory time. One that included maybe some pictures that could be put into scrapbooks later. And if the two men had been hunters, how would that have changed it? If they were on a hunting trip, that probably would have meant that they were more excited about catching something the next day to bring home to the families, especially if they lived off of that, like they did in the olden days, that would have totally changed the experience, right? So life is made up of all kinds of different learning experiences. We can choose to learn from them or not, right? We can get into the same accident over and over because we keep following too closely. And we keep on hitting somebody that doesn't go right when the light turns green. I have a friend that does that. Or we can say, whoops, okay, this is my second time where I'm at fault for this type of accident, and I better watch myself and not be so close to the car in front of me, right? Because you never know if that car is going to maybe be a stick shift, have to back up a little before going, or maybe somebody is distracted, even though they shouldn't be distracted. We can sit around talking about that. Oh, well, they should be listening. They should be paying attention. They should be turning down the radio. They shouldn't be on their phone. The reality is we might as well be defensive drivers because people are not always going to do what they're supposed to do, right? Right. So I just back up a little bit. I don't need to be first. I don't care. I don't care about being first, but I do give myself a little more time too than somebody who is always in a hurry because they're always late. Yeah, so I'm not perfect, but I do tend to learn from my mistakes. So the point is that we can learn from it or we can not, okay, right? We can choose to believe that everything happens to us and feel like we have less control over our lives if that's what we desire, expecting that bad things are just going to happen to us and living in fear. That really stinks, doesn't it? I would hate that kind of life, although I know some people that live that way. You can do that, or you can choose to believe that life happens for us, which spiritual people do, myself included. A lot of times we tend to look at, okay, what is this supposed to be teaching me? You know, for example, with my cancer, when I first got breast cancer, I was saying to myself, wow, I can really see myself getting bogged down by this and crying every day. And yeah, I'm just sick as a dog and I can't work. Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna pay bills? And you know, there are so many things that can go through your mind like that every day. But I admit I used a few days of that. I used my time like that for a few days, but then I started to say, wake up, girl, you need to realize that there's a reason why you had to take this time away from everybody else and why you had to be alone a lot. You know, because when you're not working, when you're at home, everybody else is working, or, you know, I don't have any young kids at home right now. I've already raised my kids, so, you know, you can feel sorry for yourself, or you can say, okay, wow, what was I doing before that made me need this wake-up call? What was I not taking time to do? And for me, that was, I just wasn't really focused on my purpose in life. That's when I started to have my great awakening. So, all of a sudden, you know, I just had experience after experience. Every day I was searching and learning. I was reading and watching things. I was journaling. I was taking notes. Yes, I did therapy for a while, and that helped a lot. But I learned to meditate. I had already done some hypnosis, like self-hypnosis, and I had some hypnosis tapes, but I started doing that more often. And I decided that I'm going to go to bed tonight. And when I wake up in the morning, I am going to start looking for what is working for me. What am I blessed with? What are the green lights? What about my life can I do now that I couldn't do before? And that was mostly reading, writing, channeling, and doing this channel. So I knew that I was meant to teach and to write and to speak and to do things like that, and to lead people into a more spiritual lifestyle, but I didn't have the time. I didn't know how. I was just too busy working, right? And now I've got this darn broken leg. I mean, this, you know, broken ankle. So here we are again. I guess I didn't learn enough because I was thinking a lot about it. I was planning things, but I wasn't actually recording, and I needed to hit record more often. So, as painful as it is, you know, I'm going through this again, and God's telling me, no, you're not going back to regular work. You work for me now. And I just have to have faith and trust that everything's going to work out, that people are going to donate, people are going to write my books, or people are going to buy my books, not write my books, and people are going to support me, and everything's going to work out, because that's what I'm here to do. That's my purpose. That's what I figured out. And it took me a long time to figure that out. I mean, I'm 50 now. So I could have died by now. And I am very grateful that I haven't. But the rest of my life, I know that I need to do what I can to help everybody else around me. To kind of get over that poor me mentality. So, time is going fast. I'm watching my timer. And I want to go over box breathing one more time, because a lot of us are still stressed out, and we need to do some box breathing. So last time I briefly went over it, and let me just show you a little picture that I've got here on my computer. Okay, that's a free image. There shouldn't be any problem with me sharing that. No copyright problems. So basically, let me just describe it to you briefly. You inhale for a count of 4 to 6 seconds, then you hold it 4 to 6 seconds, and as you progress, while you're holding it, you are gathering up all the stress in your body into a little ball, and you are sending it into the palm of your hand. Okay, and then when you're ready, you're going to take that and exhale 4 to 6 seconds, forcing it out. Okay, they don't say that in box breathing. This is just my little additives that I'm teaching you so that we can get up to the higher levels of meditation quicker. So basically, you would exhale 4 to 6 seconds, and you hold that space of emptiness for about the same time. Then you start again. You repeat it for about 5 times total. And I would do that with you if we had time, but I really want to get into the meditation, so we're just going to do it about 3 times, okay? Ready? In. Hold. Out. Hold. In. Hold. Out. Hold. In. Hold. Out. Hold. Okay, now we're going to breathe normally, and we're just going to keep our eyes closed. As you keep your eyes closed, then I'm going to help you to visualize the new earth a little bit, and we're going to do some actual manifesting together today. Okay? Imagine a world where everyone has everything that they need. Food grows abundantly in both the public and private gardens. There are stores, but nobody pays any money for these things. Keep your eyes closed, keep breathing. Okay? Instead, they're just given what they can fit into a grocery cart every week according to the number of members in their household. Okay? Can you imagine that? There are restaurants, but nobody pays any money. Instead, people order what they want according to the needs of those present. Nobody really overeats or has too many treats unless they're celebrating. And this is a place where all adults 18 and over take a turn to work or serve the community in shifts of 3 or 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. And needs are posted in a community center and on the internet, and people can just sign up at their convenience. Nobody steals in this society. Everyone is kind, okay? And there are no judgments or competitions among friends or neighbors, colleagues, church members. Everyone does their best and allows everyone else to make their own choices and appreciates each other's creations, you know. Everyone has time to exercise and develop personal interests, as well as take care of your family. And if you want to work a little extra for a week or two and then take a vacation all together at once, you can do that later. Everything's balanced, okay? Everyone starts with a basic home, and they can add on to that home as long as other people have the same opportunity. Everyone has free access to medical and pet care, and This is a place free of crime. So if anybody has unpleasant emotions, they simply go in and get help to balance their chakras, maybe get some therapy, some medication to improve their mood, and then it'll be their choice whether they want to stay in this blissful place, living the standards of balance, or move to another reality. But they can't stay in a negative mood all the time. Okay? Love is the currency. Love is the frequency. It's a better world than the one that we have now. But this is the future new earth. Okay? Feel that love in your heart, connected with this place. Take time to breathe into it. Feel your heart swelling and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Feel how very, very thankful that you are for being here. You've made it. It's so exciting. This is like heaven on earth. Okay? Next, we're going to take a big breath and open that third eye space. Roll your eyes up into your head just a little bit in this third eye space. And we're going to feel and see at the same time that it is playing out with the feelings of love and joy and peace and thankfulness for what we are seeing. We're seeing children playing together without fighting. We are seeing everyone's equal. There's equality here. Everyone drinks mostly pure water. We don't need drugs unless we're sick. We have med beds. We have technology that you wouldn't believe right now because it's been hidden from us for years. You know, not that everything's perfect all the time, but we're all striving to be perfect. And we're all striving to stay in that loving frequency. This is the frequency of peace and love. This is the fifth dimensional new earth. Okay? So keep taking breaths. Enjoy what you see. Enjoy what you feel. Okay? It's beautiful. It's so joyful. And we're so thankful to be witnessing it. So, congratulations! You have just participated in creating the new earth. Take some deep breaths, come back into the room, wiggle your toes and fingers. Okay, how do you feel? Do you believe that you actually created that with me? Believe it. Okay, and keep creating what you want in your own life. You do have the power to create things and to manifest things that you want. You just have to imagine that you already have them. And you have to see them playing out in your mind before you in your third eye. You have to connect that with emotions and love in your heart. That is something that a robot and AI can never do. And that is a big secret that they don't want you to know, folks. You have the power to create your own reality. Start doing it today. Control your thoughts. Choose to look for what is positive and share it, and to uplift other people around you. These are my thoughts today, and I hope you enjoyed them. And I will see you next time for another episode of New Earth Teachings. Bye-bye.